Hello, this is Dr. Anu, and I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Now, recently it was World AIDS Day, and I just wanted to say I'm very grateful to be a part of Plus Life, but also be able to answer your weekly questions and concerns so as to hope to end HIV stigma. Our question of the week is: how important is it that I take my medications at the same time every day? And what if I'm traveling to a new time zone? Now, this is quite a complex question that involves quite a few details, and I made notes for myself so as to make sure that I share those important points with you guys. Taking your HIV medications on a regular basis at the same time ensures that your regimen works to suppress your viral load, but also to prevent medication resistance. Technically, being on a good regimen with undetectable viral load levels, you can afford to take your medications a little bit earlier or a little bit later with no major concern during your travel. Now, the holiday season is approaching, and many of us make our travel plans way ahead of time. So it's also important to make an appointment with your physician way ahead of time as well. So as to, number one, get all your pre-travel vaccinations and medications. Number two, make sure you have an adequate medication supply for your travel. And number three, review your medications. Medications such as anti-malarial medications can interfere with anti-HIV medications that you may be taking. Everyone has a different medication regimen when they travel or possibly travel, and some unfortunately miss multiple dosages, and others wake up at awkward times in order to stick to rigid and strict medication regimen routines that they have. There's something called a pharmacokinetic forgiveness period, and this is the time between your next due dose where your drug level concentrations can fall below what we call an estimated MEC, or minimal effective concentration level. Delaying your dose past this pharmacokinetic forgiveness period can lead to medication resistance or treatment failure. Taking an earlier dose can lead to supratherapeutic or increased drug level concentrations in your body that can be quite toxic. When it comes to traveling, we have two things that we have to tackle. One is the timing of the medication, when and how you take your medications when you travel. And two is shifting to a new medication regimen in your new time zone or destination time zone. Now, the advice that I'm going to give generally is for people that are on a stable medication regimen with undetectable viral load levels, because they're at the least risk. If you have viral load levels that are detectable or elevated, if you have an HIV strain that is resistant to certain medications that you're taking, if you have a complex itinerary with multiple time zones within a few amount of days, and lastly, if your journey is more than 24 hours long, then it is really important that you sit down with your HIV specialist and go over your travel plans and come up with a travel medication regimen. If you have an established plan of taking your medications in the past when you've traveled, maintaining your viral suppression load, then obviously continue with it. In general, you want to avoid taking medications during your travel in a safe manner. Two, you also want to try and get to your destination as soon as possible, to your new time zone as soon as possible, so you can adjust and make the necessary compensations as soon as you can. Three, and lastly, is you want to make sure that you adhere to the way that you take your medications that you normally take. If you take it on a full stomach or an empty stomach, then when you travel, you want to take the medications on a full stomach or empty stomach. Your HIV medications are classified into three different categories. One is likely tolerant to taking your medications at a later stage or time. Two is moderately tolerant, and third is poorly tolerant. Medications can also be taken in different timings. Certain medications require daily dosing or once a day dosing, and certain medications require twice a day dosing. So the advice I'm going to give is based on these different categories. If you have to take your medications on a daily dosing regimen, or if they fall in the category of being highly tolerable to taking it at a later time or stage, then what you can do is potentially delay your dose on the day of your departure right before you depart or travel. And then you don't have to take a dose during the flight and take the next dose upon arrival, and then restart your subsequent dosages at the same time that you used to take it at home in your new time zone period. For example, if you take your medications daily in the morning and your flight is in the evening, then you can postpone taking your medication till the afternoon or early evening, and then you can take your next dosage right when you land, and then the subsequent dosages would be every morning in that new time zone period. The second piece of advice is if you're taking medications on a twice-day dosing, or if they fall within the moderately tolerant category, then you want to and can delay your dosage prior to when you travel. And it really depends on how long your flight is. If your flight is 12 hours or less, then you can wait to take your next dose right after you land. If your flight is 12 hours or more, then you may have to take your dose during that flight. And then you have to take it subsequent dosages according to your new time zone and when you normally take it. Now, the third category, which is poorly tolerant, unfortunately, you may have to end up taking in-flight dosages in a safe manner. There are special cases as far as medications and when to take them. I'm just going to refer to my notes for this. Sustiva or Atripla has side effects of dizziness, mood swings, anxiety, or even vivid dreams. And these side effects are the strongest 4 hours after taking the medication. So it's recommended not to take these meds few hours before you actually check in or depart. Another medication is Caleptra, and if you take Caleptra once a day, then you cannot afford to miss a dose or take it later. So it's recommended to take the dose at the normal pre-departure time, and you may need to take an extra dose during the flight, and then following dose can be taken at your usual time period at the local destination time. Another medication, Reataz, is taken usually with booster medications and other HIV medications. But if you're taking Reataz by itself with no booster medications, or Reataz without any other HIV medications, then please follow the same advice that I gave for Caleptra. The last medication is Prezista. And if you're taking Prezista without any other anti-HIV medications, so this is a monotherapy, then you should follow the advice that was given if you were taking medications on a twice daily dosing. So in the end, you can see that ultimately it's really important that you make an appointment with your HIV specialist to go over your travel plans and come up with a medication travel regimen. I hope this answers your question, and if you have any questions or concerns, you can make comments below, or I can address that with you in the following weeks. Take care, and looking forward to talking to you soon.